Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last episode we put our two ComSats in a high orbit over Duna, and now we're putting these in an orbit over Ike. So at this point we are in orbit. We need to raise up our periapsis to roughly maximum, looks like. So let's warp on over here, and that'll be fine. So we'll get this in here. This is going to be 41.8 meters per second. Okay, sounds great. So we've got about a minute here before our burn goes. 30 seconds, 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, let's get that last little bit in there. Don't really want to overshoot this, to be honest. So let's see where we're at here. This'll do. Okay, so that looks good, and at this point, we can jettison one of these satellites. This is the orbit that it is going to find itself in permanently. So that sounds good. Let's go ahead and jettison this guy. Well, okay then. I guess it is very slightly separating. We'll give it a moment. This is at 50x time warp. Okay, we'll just let that clear a bit, and that looks good for now. We need to swap over to this guy, and we need to set the hinge's target angle to be at 0. There we go. We'll put this on kill rot, and I'm going to extend out the solar panels. I'm going to activate this engine. I'm just going to give a tiny little puff. We don't want to adjust our orbit much. We just want to get ourselves a little bit separated here. Let's make it a little further. There we go. Actually, let's double check the orbit here. Yeah, we're still captured. Sounds good. So at this point, we're going to swap back over to this guy, and we're expecting this to be a little bit awkward at this point to use this last little bit of fuel, but that should be reasonably fine. So now what I want to do is I want to set this as our target. I want to pin open our ascending node. We'll add a maneuver here. And we're just going to want to set this ascending node, of course, to be 90 degrees. Although, do we want to do this here? Or do we want to do it a little later? I think a little later is the answer. So I want to grab this. And I want to do it about here. There we go. So pin open, hopefully it'll stay this way. We'll pin open the inclination there. That's 50 degrees. So we've still got some work to do here, for sure. So I'll just continue to do some of this. Oh, really? It wouldn't let me click the button? It was clicking the line behind it. That's obnoxious. Okay, we'll bring this up to around 85, and then we are going to push out this direction. We're going to need a little bit more inclination, but yeah, it really doesn't want to let me click on that. Okay, excellent. So that's about 90 degrees right there. We're going to need to pull it back a little bit. There we go. And now what I'm doing is I'm just pushing out the actual periapsis. So this is at 90 degrees. And what is our current apoapsis? About 900,000. This is very, very similar. I want to adjust the node there. Thank you. There we go. Okay, now it's not letting me adjust the node anymore. We'll call this good. It's very, very close. So that looks fine for now. Excellent. So we're going to physics warp our turn here. This is slowly drifting away, and that seems great. And then here in 1 hour and 24 minutes, we're going to commence this burn. This will be offset on the mass, and we'll see what that ends up feeling like. But we've got a lot of delta V to get this into position. So let's warp on forward. Excellent. And really, we could just position this in its correct position right now, and we probably should. So I'll just go ahead and do that. There we go. We can also extend out these photovoltaic panels. There's nothing stopping us from doing this at this time. So we're about 40 seconds away from this burn. Are we controlling from the right point? I don't think we are. Control from here? That appears to be correct. I guess it's because it's in target mode. Okay, yeah, this is actually correct. Good to know. So we've got about 28 seconds here. 10 seconds, and 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Whoa! Can we go to the node, please? So I knew we'd be offset. Let's turn our gimbal limit up to 100%. Let's just make our way around to the node. I'm going to freeze physics here. Okay. Yeah, we're having a really hard time maintaining attitude. And the reason for that is because of the thrust offset. So we're going to have to burn this very, very slowly. So I'm going to physics warp us. And we're just going to very gently burn this. Okay. And we'll see where this puts our final orbit. But we definitely need to burn this very carefully at this point. A lot of correction is happening at this point. This is not efficient, but we expected that. This is because of our awkward thrust situation, right? So that's absolutely okay. Okay, this is probably close enough. Let's see where we are. Well, we do see that we need to go around to retrograde, orbital retrograde, at this point. So let's bring ourselves around. We are slightly out of the Ike gravitational pull at this point. Very slightly. This is going to not require much DV at all. I'm going to thrust limit us down to about 0.5%. And yeah, we've still got a lot of delta V in this, but that's absolutely A-okay. Okay, so with us at about 0.5% thrust, we're then going to just slowly pull this right on down until we're back in orbit, just barely in orbit. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. Now we're just barely in orbit. This is close enough, and that will do the trick. And we are at 90.1. Okay, so I'm not sure if we need to go to let me just think here for a moment. So we're currently here. If we added a maneuver up this direction, it wouldn't need to be much. But do we need to go normal or anti-normal at this point? Come on. Okay, it's this way. Perfect. So we can just put it in like that. 0.1 meters per second. Okay. We're heavily thrust limited, and that should be fine, even with our offset thrust. So this should be no issue at all. So we just need a very, very small correction here at this point. Excellent. So at this point, we can probably burn this right now. It's probably better to burn it now. So let's get rid of that. And I'm putting us in kill rot. Throttling us up. There we go. That's all we needed. So that looks fantastic. We've got a lot of DV left over in all of these satellites, and a lot of DV left over here. But that's absolutely fine. We'll just leave it like this, and that seems good. Let's hop on back to the Space Center and see what our options are at this point for contracts. We've got a couple of things that we can still do. We can move over our first segment of our base, and that's absolutely something that I'm interested in doing. Enter the atmosphere of Duna. Yes, please. Surface deployed mystery goo observations. This is going to be a 25-year duration. We're probably not going to be there with Kerbals for a little while. I'll grab this, but we might actually fail this. So we'll take that. 3,000 units of ore from Duna. This is going to happen. We'll accept that contract. What else do we have here? That's kind of it for now. Blueberries. Okay. From Duna. Oh my. Apparently there are blueberries on Duna? Interesting. Well, we don't actually care about that right now. We're not going to be doing this anytime soon. So I'm not going to grab this one. We'll just take the contracts that we've got and call it good. So with the contracts that we have right now, we need to enter the atmosphere of Duna and acquire ore from Duna. We'll definitely enter the atmosphere of Duna with our current mission to Duna. That is, of course, for the fuel production module. So this is not the mining module, and we'll need to launch that separately. And that's going to be its own monstrosity, that's for sure. So at this point, you can see this does not have any mining capacity on it. So that's absolutely understood. But we do need to bring it out to Duna at this point. Why is this reading as 309 meters per second? This is probably just because there's a huge amount of mass here, is my guess. Or the game is confused. This is not actually piped in. So the game is confused. Okay, that's fine. We can definitely work with that. So what we need to do at this point is we need to start planning to leave low orbit of Kerbin. We've been here a long time, that's for sure, but we need to get out of here. So we'll plan a maneuver sometime around here. What's our communication situation? We've got a Communitron HG61. That's probably good enough, I hope. Well, at any rate, let's make our way on out of here. And let's just get out to Duna. So we can do something about like this. Now, the game is confused about how much DV we have. We've got more than the game thinks. So we'll align to that node, which is going to be a little slow, but that's fine. We've also got a fair amount of battery power here, so I'm not terribly concerned about that one. So we'll align to the node, and we're going to need to figure out where we want to set this up, right? Because that's going to be a whole thing. But first, we're going to need to pin open this guy. And then I'm going to go from the top down, I think, out here. So we're going to pin open all 6 of these hemispherical liquid fuel tanks. There we go. And then we're going to do the same with these later, and then these later. I just don't want to use that much screen real estate right now to do it all at once. So we'll just do these one at a time, and that should be absolutely fine. So we'll align to this burn. We're going to be starting the burn in 25 seconds. Okay. We're basically in position now. We should be surprisingly evenly set up in terms of our mass distribution here, because we don't have any fuel in this tank. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. And off we go. Something isn't right. And that something is our control point, I think. Correct. That something is absolutely our control point. So let's go ahead and flow. Actually, we should do in here. There we go. And let's get reoriented. We're going to have to redo this, but that's okay. So out over here, while we're reorienting, well, actually, we don't have anything to orient to yet. What? No, don't set the tanker ship as target. Add a maneuver. There we go. We're just going to push right on out of here. Excellent. That should do the trick. So now we'll align to that node. There we go. This is much better. Our burn was supposed to start a little bit ago, but it really doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and commence the burn now. Yeah, we're a little off, but that's okay. Yeah, we were supposed to start the burn previously, but that's absolutely fine. So we're going to flow this fuel on in. Looks great. It looks like it's only pulling from one tank at a time doing this. That's a little awkward, and we're over gimbaled here. Let's turn that gimbal limit down to about 20% or so. Okay, we'll flow this fuel right on in. Looks good. So this is going to be about a 5-minute burn. That's a lot, to be sure. But it's looking okay for now. As you can see, our amount of delta V here is actually increasing because the game is very confused about what we've got going on with our DV. Or is it going down very slowly? No, it's going up. Okay, fantastic. But this is going to be a lengthy burn, and because of our fuel transfer, it's going to take a little bit of time. So that seems okay for now. We'll just let this go. Our hemispherical liquid fuel tanks are empty now. So we'll go ahead and close these. There we go. You as well. And we'll start pinning open these guys. And these are going to last a lot longer. So that looks good. We should probably be physics warping here pretty soon. But I wanted to have this ready to go. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to flow this fuel in. And we're going to physics warp it. Excellent. And the fuel isn't flowing in now. Okay, there we go. Now it's flowing in correctly. So that looks good. We're just going to continue to burn this. This is going to be a long burn. But we can just continue to physics warp through this as quickly as we can. This is going down at a very slow rate. No doubt about that. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do we got going on here? Why are we drifting off the node so much? Can we stop? We might need to change our gimbal limit on the engine here and flow this in. The issue, I think, is the weight distribution here. This did not correctly distribute the weight. Let's flow this out while we're working on reorienting to get that weight hopefully a little bit redistributed. Okay, I'm going to stop that, and we're going to now flow it in here. And I'm going to start up this burn again. Okay. I really dislike this gimbaling that we've got going on here. Let's limit that down again. And we're going to continue to flow the fuel in here for now. There we go. The game is so confused about our fuel count. That's for sure. Now we're going to flow the fuel back into this tank. And that looks good. We've got about 3 minutes left in this burn, allegedly, although it keeps fluctuating tremendously. Let's just head over to Orbital Prograde, and we'll do this manually. Okay, so that seems fine for now. Where's our fuel flowing out? It's down here. This time, noted. Okay, so at this point, we can see we're working on raising up that apoapsis. We're pretty slow on this, though. I'm going to stop this burn at this point, and we're going to take another pass at this. So at the periapsis, we're then going to push this right on out, and that is going to be something about like that. So we'll align to that node, but we're too late on this at this point. I'm going to flow this fuel out as we get aligned here, because I want to rebalance this a bit. As much as we can, anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and warp this a bit. Okay. So now I'm going to flow the fuel in here. And that's pretty close to balanced. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Let's now pull the fuel up over here. There we go. And we'll call that good for now. Again, it's not perfect, but it'll do for the moment. Let's warp around and let's take another pass on our actual escape burn here. So let's physics warp forward while we're orienting. There we go. And then we'll warp forward 30 seconds, 20, 10, and 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, mark. Okay, engine is lit. I'm not going to flow fuel right now. We're going to wait until this gets a lot lower, I think. So that'll be fine. And this burn is commenced for right now. So we'll just let this go on physics warp for the moment. This is definitely going a lot more smoothly now on this second pass. So that looks good. We'll build up a fair amount of speed here. So we're definitely seeing that fuel drain on down, which we fully expect. We should probably start refilling it very soon here, and that's going to be about... I'm going to wait a bit. I'm going to start refilling it about now. Okay, something about like that. We're trying to keep it fairly even here. We now have enough for our escape, and that looks great. Keep in mind, we've still got another set of tanks here, so we've got a lot of fuel. We're going to be finished with this burn shortly. Let's go ahead and exit physics warp at this point. We're trying to turn up over this direction. That's fine for right now, but we're in escape, and this is good enough. So let's go ahead and set our target as being Duna. And our descending node is 0.1. Let's see what this is going to look like if we just go for it here. This is not going to be good, right? No way this is good. Yeah, that's as bad as it gets as in terms of the transfer window. So instead, we should be coming out over this direction and looking to have an encounter somewhere around here or so. So we'll just need to dial in that timing. Much better. And then we'll need to dial in the actual encounter. We need this to be much lower than this. So the inclination is a bit of an issue, perhaps. We can definitely bring that up a little bit, like so. But what we really want to do is we want to bring it in and lower that periapsis a lot. Okay, so we're just adjusting the inclination here a little bit. This is pretty close to equatorial. It's not quite there. And this is quite sensitive at this point. Okay. That is pretty close. It's not quite as equatorial as I'd like, but it'll do. So that'll do for now. We can adjust that once we get into system. So that looks good. Let's align to that node, and let's make sure to flow this fuel in. But actually, we should maybe rebalance this. No, I think it's fine. So we'll just position it like this, and it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to take this guy right on over to Duna, and we should have plenty of fuel to do so. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Aurelio, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge, STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.